we are looking at different types of angles that we are working with. Supplementary angles, two angles that add to 180. Complementary, two angles that add to 90. I know, this got moved around. 180 degrees is for a straight angle, and a right angle is 90. I'd like you to draw some pictures behind these. The pictures that I want you to draw is for supplementary angles. Most of the time, our pictures are going to look something like this. Do you need a pencil? There's one back here on my desk. Grab it. Ours are going to look a lot of times like this, where I'm going to have this angle maybe is 50 degrees, and I'm going to say, oh, what's the measure of angle A over here? And what we know is that these two together have to total to 180 degrees. So the measure of angle A, please write that right above here. The measure of angle A is taking 180 minus 50, which is 130 degrees. When I have two angles that sum to 90, a lot of times you're going to see a picture like this. And you're going to see this little right angle marking telling you that it's 90 degrees, right? That's telling us that this is 90 degrees. And then you might have something like this, and they say, oh, this angle is 20 degrees, which means the other one has to be, if we were going to try to find that, would have to be 70, because the two have to total to 90. So it is always two angles that total or add sum to 90, and its supplementary is two angles that add to 180. So what I ask for you to do is taking a look at this picture down below. It says, tell me, and I want you to tell me two pairs of supplementary, and there's only one pair that's complementary. Write it down, check with your shoulder partner. I'm going to have you move back just one desk for today. So I'm going to have you come move up. Gavin, I'm going to have Taylor, I'm going to have you move up here. You can just check with those two. Okay? All right, so pairs of supplementary, pairs of complementary. Lucas, move all your stuff over. I don't get this. Okay? So, talk to your shoulder partner right now. Like angle 1 and what would be supplementary?
1 and 4.
1 and 5. I need another pair. There should be one more pair that you can come up with. Okay, just write it down and talk to your shoulder partner. Check with your shoulder partner. Complementary. So this is 180, right? Complementary sum to 90. Okay, check with your shoulder partner. Are you ready to give me? There's only one that works for complementary. Yep, there's only one pair for complementary. There's two pairs for supplementary. What's our other pair? No more sound effects? Emma, what'd you guys have for the other one? Which one? I think you're right on. For supplementary, besides 1 and 5, what else would be supplementary? 5 and 2. Okay, does that make sense? 5 and 2, that's along a straight line, add to 180, 1 and 5. What about 5 and 4? Well, 4, we can't tell that that's the same, we don't know the measures, but these two, because they're along this straight line, I can tell. But 5 with 4, no. Which ones are Gavin, are complementary? What's our only pair? What'd you guys come up with?
3 and 4.
Only 3 and 4. And you're going to put this angle symbol in front. Angle 3, angle 4. Yep, do it. All right. I will tell you that those seem to be the ones that confuse students the most. They get complementary and supplementary mixed up. Being, they think that supplementary adds to 90 and complementary adds to 180. And it is just the opposite. And if you think of the alphabet, in alphabetic order, that goes to your smallest number. So complementary is always adds to 90. Supplementary is adding to 180. So when you look at this picture, there's all of these angles. This is line L, this is line M. This is our interior between those two lines. This is the exterior. These are not parallel lines. Almost everything in our assignment is going to be parallel lines. This line right here, please write next to it, is called our transversal. If you were reading that definition, Sanjay, would you please read it?
Transversal is a line that intersects two or more other lines of distinct points.
So it intersects at this point right here and at this point. Corresponding angles. Micah, would you please read?
Lie on the same side of the transversal and in the corresponding positions relative to the intersection points.
So I'm going to go down here to corresponding. And when we have parallel lines, I just want you to write, when lines are parallel, all of these special ones will be congruent. These will be, corresponding will be congruent, vertical will be congruent, alternate interior will be congruent, and alternate exterior will be congruent. In this picture, they do not look congruent, and they are not, because our lines aren't parallel. But corresponding, Sanjay said, are in the same spot on the same side of the transversal. So I would put angle 1 and what's in the same spot down below? In the same spot as 1. Above 5. So angle 1 and 5. There are going to be 4 pairs here, okay, under corresponding. Angle 2 with what? Same spot. Angle 6. Please write these down as I'm writing. Some of you aren't writing. Angle 3. And then angle 4. Check with your shoulder partner and see what's in the same spot that you have the right numbers there. So 1 with 5. 2 with 6. 3 with what? 4 with what? Okay? Check your shoulder partner's paper and see if you got it, if you agree. Elena, 3 and 3 and 7. Taylor, 4 and 8. Vertical. Ben, read the definition for vertical angles.
Vertical are two angles whose sides form two pairs of opposite rays.
2 angles whose sides form pairs of opposite rays. I am going to tell you that one pair is angle 1 and angle 3. 2 pairs so that the sides make opposite rays, right? So this going off here and going off here would be opposite. 1 and 3. Angle 2 and angle 4. There are 2 more pairs. Angle 5 with what? And angle 6 with what? Please check with your shoulder partner. Do that now. Just write them down. Just write them and check with your shoulder partner. You have the same ones right. Look at each other's papers. That is okay as we are doing this. Okay? So, Lucas, you said 5 and
7.
angle 7, and Zach 6 and angle 8. Alternate interior. Whitney, would you please read what it says?
Alternate interior angles are interior angles that lie on opposite ends of the transversal.
So, interior angles. So, we're only talking about 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? Those are our only ones on the interior. Interior angles that lie on opposite sides of the transversal. So, some people think 3 and 4, but 3 and 4 are what kind of angles together? That we had from the first part of your notes. 3 and 4 are supplementary. So, angle 3 and angle 4 are supplementary, meaning they add to 180. Supplementary later in the alphabet, right? 180. Complementary add. So it can't be 3 and 4. So it's going to be angle 3 and angle 5. 2 is not on the interior. Thanks for blurting, but just wait. Inside, interior, right? So 3 and 5 and angle 4 and 6. There are only 2 pairs of alternate interior. There are only 2 pairs of alternate exterior. So the exterior, they kind of have this light blue up here. It's kind of hard to see, but yours is shaded lightly. Exterior, right? So we're talking way out here. So angle 1, and then on the opposite side down below is angle 7. Angle 2 and angle 8. Now, these 2 and 8 in this picture are definitely not congruent. We can see that. But when we look at parallel lines, they are. So, as you look at the top of the next, or that next screen down as you're looking at your notes, it says this. It says if you would cut this diagram along this half dash line and then translate. So, right, we've been doing translations. What do you notice about corresponding angles? So, if I look at this picture and what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this. I'm going to cut it, and if I was going to move, which ones do we notice should be, if I line those up, can you see kind of how those are going to be exactly, if I'm looking at those? So when I take this line and I move it, I can see that my corresponding angles are exactly the same, right? That's key to what we are looking at here. This is what I need for you to, write down. Is you are going to put down, what do you notice about those angles? Corresponding angles are congruent. That means that the measure of angle 1 is going to be congruent or the same as the measure of angle 5. I don't know in this picture what that angle is, but they are all going to be, 1 and 5 will be the same. 2 and 6 would be the same. What do I know about 1 and 2? 1 and 2 are supplementary, add to 180, right? So this is really nice when I'm trying to find a missing angle. If you would fold over this dotted line, what are you going to notice about angle 2 and 4? They are exactly the same. If I had a dashed line going this way and I could fold it over, what are we going to notice about vertical angles? Vertical angles are congruent. So when we look at our vertical angles are always going to be congruent. Corresponding angles are congruent. Now this is really nice because I'm only going to give you one angle and I'm going to ask you to find a bunch of other ones, right? And you can do it because of all of these special types of angles. So as we look at this one, it says, okay, but what about if I was trying to show alternate interior, alternate exterior? So it says, what kind of transformation could you find out that would get 2 and 7 congruent? What would I have to do to show that 2 right here and 7 would be congruent? What would I have to do around that line? Lucas, you see it?
You translate.
No, can't translate. I won't reflect it either, because reflection would be over here, and then this line would be going this way, right? A reflection wouldn't it? If it reflected over, the line wouldn't be the same. What am I looking at?
Rotation.
How many degrees?
180.
180. Does that make sense to everyone if we rotate 180? So if I look at this, I notice I have this little spinner thing up here, so if I spin this around, right? And now we'll see if I can keep them parallel. And if I would move these, right?
No, it's not.
Okay? So if I'm looking at those ones, right?
This is confusing.
So, what you need to know about this is that these two angles, 2 and 7, if we were looking at those, right? Because this was our picture, was like right like this, and we turned it around, right? Okay? And so if I'm looking at these, what do we know? So what transformation can we find out to make 2 and 7 congruent? We said we are going to, if we cut about this dot, so we cut and Gavin said rotate it 180 degrees, then translate it up. The angles will be the same. So if I look at that original picture, and if I would have taken the 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? And I'm trying to look at those angles. The reason that 2 and 7 are going to be congruent, if we look at those, is that they are going to be 180 degree rotation, and then we would translate it up. So if I rotate this 180, those two will be congruent. What other angles have to be congruent when we look at that picture? 7 and 3 have to be the same. What do we know about 8 and 6? Will they be the same? What kind of angles are 8 and 6? Special name?
Oh, there.
Vertical. Vertical angle. 3 and 1, also vertical, right? So what's really nice is that if I only know one measure, I can find all these other measures going around it. So, it says, 2 lines are intersecting with the transversal. We're going to find as many of them as we can. Use what you know about congruent angles. And what I want you to do out in front here is tell me how it's related to that 55-degree angle. So when I look at angle 1 and 55 are what kind of angles because they're directly across from each other? What was the name? Raise your hand. The name. What do you have, Jaden? Vertical. Vertical. So out in front here, we're going to put vertical. Vertical to 55 degrees, right? Which means the measure angle 1 must be 55 degrees. It has to be the same. Just wait, let's go through it first, okay? What do we know about angle 2 in relation to 155? First page of your notes in this unit. Ellen, what do we know? 2 and 55. Total to how much? How much? Because they're right next to each other along this straight line. It's going to make them, look on the first page of this unit's notes, there's 2 words. Complements and supplements. Makes them supplementary. So we're going to put out here supplementary. Quit. Supplementary to 55 degrees, right? Which means I'm going to take, to get this answer, 180 and subtract 55. Michael, what'd you end up with?
125 degrees.
Now, if I know angle 2 is 125, what do I know about angle 4 and the 55? They're also what?
125.
Has to be 125. They're supplementary also. So we could say that 4 is supplementary to the 55 degrees, but it is vertical to what? To angle 2. So if 2 is 125, 4 has to be 125, right? These two have to be the same. They're across from each other, they're vertical. 1 and 5 are in the same spot. 1 and 5 are called what kinds of angles? Check with your notes and with your shoulder partner. Write down the type and how they're related. 1 and 5. How are 1 and 5 related? Angle 1 and angle 5 correspond. And if they correspond, they have to be congruent. Corresponding angles are congruent. So if 1 is 55, 5 is 55. What did you know about this 55-degree angle and angle 5? What were those ones called? What would these two be called? If I was looking in between this one, and this is my key word, here is the interior, right? This is my interior. So 55 and 5 would be angle 5, and the 55 degree are alternate interior also. I don't care which one you use, right? Alternate interior will always be congruent, so will corresponding. So, if I know this is 5, with your shoulder partner, please check to see if you can fill in the rest of those numbers. Should I have anything other than 55 or 125 for an answer?
No.
No, those are my only 2 answers. Check with your shoulder partner and see if you agree with the rest of your numbers. Yep. 125 degrees. How did you come up with it? What did you use?
Well, I just looked at this correspondent, number 2.
Corresponds to 2. Did anyone have something different than corresponds to 2? Did anyone use it with supplementary to 5? You could have given me that for a reason, right? Supplementary to 5. Emily, did you have something different?
No, we use that.
Okay. Angle 7. What do we have for angle 7, Nick?
We have 55 degrees.
Okay. How did you relate it to which angle?
It is corresponding to the other 55 degrees.
There you go. Corresponds to, did anyone have anything different to the original 55? Gavin.
Oh, no.
Could you have had that it was vertical to 5? Yeah, that would work, right? Could you have it with supplementary to 6? Yes, that would work, right? So there's many ways of figuring it out. And then angle 8 must be, everyone? 125. And 125 could be because it was vertical to angle 6. You could have said it was supplementary to 7. Okay, so does that make sense when you're looking at these? So, as we are looking up here, I want you to look at this picture. So the only measure that they give us is right here at 105. And they want you to find angle 1,
Angle 4, 8.
we want to find angle 4, we want to find 8, and we want to find 15. To me, the easiest one to find first is angle 8. I'm not going to do them in order. It says justify my answer. These markings right here, when they put those arrows on, that means parallel lines. Anytime you see those the rest of this year, that means you have parallel lines. So these 2 lines are parallel, and then these ones have the double arrows. That just means to show you that these line P and Q are also parallel. In between line L and M, this is my interior, correct? So what do I know the measure of angle 8 has to be? Has to be 105 degrees. It says justify your answer. Angle 8 is alternate interior to 105 degrees. So they have to be congruent. Alternate interior are congruent. Sanjay, I've just figured out that 8 is 105. I'm going to go up and find 104. What do I know about those 2 angles?
104?
Find angle 4. Angle 4, so the measure of angle 4 is congruent to the measure of angle 8, which was 105. So I'm now going to say measure of angle 4. I want you to notice this notation. When you take a quiz for me, you're going to put measure, that M out in front. Mathematics notation is very important. Then you tell me the angle, 105, and you tell me degrees. It says justify our answer. It corresponds to angle 8. So it is congruent. Corresponding angles are congruent. So now that I know 4, I want you to talk to your shoulder partner. How are you going to find 1 knowing 4 now? What kind of angle?
Supplementary.
Definitely not complementary. Talk to your shouldering partner, not me. Find it, do the subtraction, and tell me the measure. Tell me how much it's worth.
Supplementary. You think 180 minus 105 to get 75.
Supplementary. 4.
Yeah.
Maria, what did you guys get? 75 degrees. So the measure of angle 1 is 75. It's supplementary to angle 4, which means because angle 4 was 105, 105 subtracted from 180 gives us 75. Now I'm going to go back to 15. Okay? Now, what do I know about this angle 1 and this angle 15?
They're
In between these two parallel lines. They are on the exterior. Right? This is exterior over here too. So, the measure of angle 15 must be, should it be 75 or 105? It looks like, if we are looking at this, so angle 1, right? And angle, if we are looking at that 15, should be 75. Alternate exterior. Someone said, well, couldn't I have gone back here and found that this was 75 degrees and that these two correspond? You could do that too, right? Because these two are supplementary, so this would be 75 degrees. Quit with the sound effects, please. So we would have that way. So there's many, many ways. Could you have found every single angle around here? Just given the one and if the lines are parallel? Yes. Because opposite ones are always going to be, these would be vertical, would be 105. Total to 180, this one would be 7. I didn't ask you to find all of them, but if we were looking at those, we could have found all these different measures going around. So, if you notice in your homework, do you see that homework quiz that's there?
yeah.
Don't do it.
I want you to do that right now. We're not counting this as a homework quiz, but you're going to have one like this. So that homework quiz in your notes. Okay? Question number 1. It says, if two angles are complementary. Okay? Find the measure of angle 2. I want you to do this with your shoulder partner right now. Put it at the end of number 1. Tell me what that should be. You don't get to work with your shoulder partner when you take it tomorrow in class, and it's very similar. Okay? In your notes. It's right in your notes. It says homework quiz. It's right in your notes.
It's 30.
Yeah, just doing it right on there. So number 1, complementary, means they sum to how much? Complementary means two angles that sum to 90. So what you're going to do to find this is take 90 minus. I know. Ignore the picture on the bottom. Just use the information. So 90 minus 31 gives us. Your homework quiz tomorrow will look very similar to this. Should be
59.
Are you sure?
It's 59. It's
Good.
59. Keep trying.
Okay? Supplementary, the next one. Please figure that one out. Okay? And then question 3 is totally separate. Okay? That's where you're going to use this picture and find all the measures. Number 3 says that the measure of angle 4 equals 38 degrees. So what you are going to do, question 1 and 2 are separate. What do we have for measure of angle 4? Taylor, what'd you get? 109. Because you took 180 and subtracted 71. Now, most common mistake I'll have for people when they actually take this as a quiz, but that I count for points, is they'll take up here 31 from 180 for the word complement, and for supplement they'll subtract from 90. Okay? It's totally wrong. I can't give you the points. You lost the whole point. Make sure you put that symbol back here for what your angle measure is. Down here, what I want you now to do, the only one you don't have to tell me is the measure of angle 4, because I gave that to you, right? It was 38 degrees. I need you to tell me the measure of angle 1 equals the measure of angle 2. Check with your shoulder partner. You can do it together. Angle 3, the measure of angle 5. Okay? check with your shoulder partner. I need all the rest of them except for I don't need you write 4 again. Do those and check with your shoulder partner. So if it's 38, all my answers should either be 38 or what? 142. I should have no other answers except 38 or 142, right? Measure of angle 1 should be 38 degrees. Some of you only wrote it here, that's fine. But when you answer on the quiz, I need it written out like this. So what do I know 2 has to be? 142, because it's supplementary. And what do I know about 3? 142. What do I know about 5? I know, but that's only for question 2 do you use that.
That's lying.
That's why I'm telling you, when you take the quiz tomorrow, that's why this is a good practice. 1 and 2 are 2 separate questions.
Oh yeah.
Do not use that information. Use 3 for the picture. Okay? So, 5 was how many degrees? 38. 6 was 142. 7 was 142. And 38. Okay? If you would turn and look at your homework. So tomorrow's quiz, we're probably going to look at it being like that one. And I am also going to ask you how you know 2 triangles are similar.
This is our homework too.
So,
page 15.
I want yours that says H10. And then some of it goes to H15 and H10 in this workbook. So, if you notice that first page looks a lot like mine, and then when you turn to the second page, it says H15. So H10 and H15 are kind of the same thing. So, this is the rest of it. There are 3 pages of H10. Okay? They go pretty fast. So, take a look here. They are not asking you to find every angle. It says identify a pair of alternate exterior. Not hard, right? Just 1 pair. 3 pairs that correspond. There's actually 4 of them. You only named 3. How are these angles related? So use your notes. Here's the other thing. Some of you, I would very strongly recommend you go to Google Classroom and you go to Quizlet and you practice. I am noticing that all of these vocab, if I'm looking in our pre-algebra, if I'm looking at our pre-algebra 1, so the transformations, and if I haven't put up these other ones, I will, and you can practice all these different types of angle types. So making sure you go there and that you take a look. So that's going to be very helpful for most of you.